The board you're looking at here, this is the draft board for Thursday. So we'll be doing the live stream. Now, I've been meaning to get into and do mock drafts and all that fun stuff, but there's been a lot of hockey going on during the day. So, yeah. Because still, again, the hockey channel does make a majority of my income. And again, I'll definitely be going where the views are at that time. So we will be doing this live stream on Thursday. I do wonder how it's going to go. There was a technical glitch at number one on their run through, their trial draft, their version of a mock draft. Apparently, according to John Elway, it went fine after that, but we'll see, right? We'll see. Apparently, part of what happened was you had 32 general managers on the phone and nobody hit the mute button. This could be glorious. This could be a glorious, phantasmical thing that we're going to watch on Thursday. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll see. Not sure what Shadow did there, but fine. So yeah, I've got the draft already, and of course, Indianapolis's pick goes to San Francisco. So one thing that's being speculated is that San Francisco with 31 and 13 may be looking to make a deal. Whether that's adding more draft picks later, whether it's moving up, whatever it is, they may be willing to deal. Miami's got a pick at 18. They've got a pick at 5. Do they try to package that? Probably not. We'll see teams move up, teams move down. There's been a lot of speculation over the last few days that draft picks in the late stages of the first round could be up for grabs. But again, it's just going to be fun to have some sports happening. I genuinely look at this as, holy crap, there's sports happening on Thursday. Something's going to happen. This is amazing. And of course, rumors that Rob Gronkowski may be coming out of retirement to go to Tampa and play with Tom Brady, which would... I don't know what you do with the 24/7 title. I guess you can just forget about it. I mean, honestly, that title's run its course anyways. But I wanted to have this board up there, and I just wanted to show everybody how it's going, and that I'm ready. I've got all the magnets good to go. All 32 teams. I swore that I'd have the magnets already, and I do. And of course, this was just a matter of ordering a set of stickers, put them on cardboard, and then take the cardboard and put it on magnet sheets that I had laying around. Now, I'm out of magnet sheets, so I'm going to need to get more because there's other magnets I need to make for, I'm hoping, baseball. Baseball logos, though, for whatever reason, the same listing that I found for these on Amazon, which was like $25, the baseball version's $100. No, I'm not doing that. But what I also got today that I was happy about is this Upper Deck baseball set from 1991. And this Upper Deck baseball set from 1990, which has enough cards in this that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of baseball stories. And I did tell everybody, hey, I'm going to put together my ultimate baseball team, and it's not going to match what anybody else's ultimate baseball team would look like. It'll have a full rotation, relievers, closers, all that other wonderful stuff. And setup man may very well be Dwayne Ward. So I'll just go throw that out there. Shadow, I don't know what you're on right now, but no, I'm not letting you outside. He's gone kind of nuts over the last hour or so. I've got the window in the bathroom open a little bit, and he just looks out the window and cries. There's nobody out there, but it makes it look like he's trapped. Weird cat. So, yeah, Joe Burrow is going to go number one. Act surprised when it happens. Cincinnati picking a quarterback, and I can't wait till he's the new whipping boy. Of course, back in 2003, they drafted Carson Palmer, first overall. So Carson Palmer, who had a good run at the beginning, and then it kind of fell off for him, and he became the source of all the things wrong. And then Dalton shows up. Dalton's great, and then all of a sudden, Dalton isn't any good either. And I know that when the Bengals were, there was a lot of blame being thrown at Dalton, and I was like, seriously, they're blaming Dalton. It's not Dalton's fault. So whoever comes in next, it'll be his fault. And so Joe Burrow, if that's you, at least Burrow of the Bengals is going to sound like fun, right? So yeah, Burrow of the Bengals. And at 2, it looks like Washington's likely to draft Chase Young, defensive end. And that's as far as I'm going with it, because there may very well be a quarterback headed to the Chargers as well. Fingers crossed, because with Rivers going out, it would be nice to see a quarterback heading there, especially since the Chargers missed out on Brady and went to Tampa, which I think is going to be a blessing in disguise. I'm really being honest there. I don't think that going from Rivers to Brady would necessarily improve things for the Chargers. I do hope that things improve for Tampa, who drafted 14, because I think they were better than the record showed this year. I think genuinely they were a pretty good team. But I'm optimistic that we'll get this draft done. It might be fun. There might be some technical snafus along the way. But I'm going to be doing this. And I also wanted to share something else with people on this channel, which also harkens back to the hockey channel. Now, what I call this is proof that I'm optimistic. This is proof that I'm optimistic. This is the power rankings board that is still frozen from about 6 weeks ago, and it really shows. And this is kind of funny. I've got all these Canuck fans that are mad at me because when I do talk about playoffs, I talk about how the Canucks fell out and Nashville was in. And at the time of the break, the pause in the NHL, the Nashville Predators were above the playoff line and Vancouver was below. But they don't care because they're like, well, winning percentage-wise, we're good. The reality is they were 20th out of 31 teams in the NHL. They were behind Florida, the Rangers, the Islanders as well, who are below the playoff line in the East because that's how it worked out. So the power ranking still shows them at 22 and shows Nashville at 6. And that's the challenge, is that without Markstrom, the Canucks didn't look anything like a playoff team consistently enough to be above that line. But the reason I say this is my board for optimism is because when the NHL canceled games, at least temporarily, they just said we're going on a pause. I took the boards that I had for the daily previews and I took those apart. I just had tape on them, so I took the tape off, cleaned them up, which I was going to do at the end of the season. So I was basically saying, well, that's it for the regular season. But I've left this intact. I've left this where everybody was with the hopes that we'll get back, with the hope that sports will come back. And it's a matter of being smart and doing it at the right time and doing it in the right fashion. And there are some things I see on the news which make me kind of shake my head and say that's not smart. And then there are other things I see that I go, yeah, that's a good idea. And right now it's kind of it's gone both ways. But I do think that we'll see some form of sport this summer. I don't know what form it's going to take. I do think that while there's a lot of people going stir crazy, and I get it, I get the cabin fever side of it, I really, really do. It has to be done right. When we decide, okay, we're good, everybody come out, ollie oxen free, it's got to be done right. So, it's taken its toll on everybody, myself included. Part of what drove me nuts last night was that I went to sleep and then every dream I had involved social distancing and like seeing people and I had another dream where we were in California, and I think this is very telling. We're supposed to have a trip this summer and it's in the US, and we were supposed to go to Vegas and California. And with what I'm seeing on the news and with the numbers I'm seeing overall, I'm heavily doubting that's going to happen. I think if we're going to take any kind of trip at all, and if it's going to happen even in August, I'm thinking it may have to be on the northern side in Canada, and it may not be very far at all. So it might just be a day trip up to Whistler and, look at the mountain and then leave. Because I do get concerned. So I think that's why the dreams I've been having, the dreams about staying 6 feet apart, keep everybody 6 feet apart. I'm in the States in most of these dreams. I did have one a couple nights ago where I was in an apartment in a high rise and was living with 4 other women, and it wasn't like that, but it was weird. So they're all women I know in real life, and we're just living it. But all I kept thinking was, okay, who are you with? And I was trying to make sure I stayed 6 feet away from everybody. So it is having an effect, and it means that when I wake up, I'm like, I didn't even know like an Into the Void dream. I had an Into the Void dream once. It was fantastic, where I was one of the characters from the book. It was absolutely amazing. Flying through space in one of those shuttles. It was absolutely fantastic. And I've been asked about it as well. Yeah, I've done lucid dreaming. I did it a couple of times when I was younger, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort and concentration, and it's kind of a pain in the backside. So I don't really worry about doing it now, but I've started thinking about maybe doing that again, getting back into the concentrating and doing my best to do that so that I have some control. So that, when I sleep, I can just sleep and I can dream about whatever I want and have fun with it. So basically, just lucid dreams means that you're aware that you're dreaming and you're in control of it while you're in there, which is, again, it's fun. It can be a lot of fun. It's just it does take work. So I may start doing that again, but I am hoping for some kind of a return to normalcy soon. The good news out of all of it is that this channel has definitely been built up throughout all this to the point where Social Blade now ranks it as a B minus, which is interesting because the hockey guy has been continually falling because again people aren't clicking on hockey videos as much as they normally would be because of where we're at. So this channel's moving up, and the other channel's kind of moving down. And I do wonder how long it'll be before the grade on this channel's kind of higher. And that grade, I don't know exactly how Social Blade figures out their grades. I think that part of it is probably upvotes and downvotes, which isn't something YouTube's algorithm, I think, cares about. I think that it may very well be reliant as well on... I don't know if the comment section has anything to do with Social Blade or what it is. I've always looked at their overall standings and seen some channels that are really high, and I haven't been able to figure out why. I know that subscriber count matters for them, so I've looked at some channels that don't have anywhere near the traffic that mine do, either of them, and yet they have really high ratings, and I think it's because they overall have a lot of subscribers, and the videos they've put up have a high rating. So I don't know what it is, but I do like to see this channel going up, and so... and putting this up means people can get angry all over again over where their teams are. I haven't moved anybody since the last time I did the power rankings because how would I? How in the world would I have changed the power rankings when there's been no hockey and nothing's happened? But it is interesting because it basically means that I'm saying if the playoffs had started right away, I think Philadelphia would have been the team I would have picked to win the Stanley Cup. And yet... when I went through it, I was like, well, Tampa. But I was like, well, Tampa because I'm thinking, well, by the end of the season, Tampa would get it together and win the Stanley Cup. And then the team I'd been picking all season had been Washington. I love the parity in the NHL. I love the fact that you can pick multiple teams to win the Stanley Cup. And apparently for me, it has to be from the East. Yeah. Apparently for me, it has to be a team from the East. I'm not sure why that is after the Blues won it last year. The Blues could win it again, absolutely. But I think any team in the top row has a chance, yes, including Edmonton, and it's fun to have that, and I miss that. I miss being able to do that every night. I miss being able to change it, and then on Saturdays having people get mad at me and downvote everything. There is subjectivity to it. I try to make sure it's as objective as possible. That's why I included the standings. That's why I was transparent with where my power rankings have been before. And if you notice, there's not anything messed up on here, even though these are all mini magnets. No messing up going on. And I've considered doing a board like this. If baseball comes back this summer, I can do a power rankings thing for baseball. No problem. So we'll see what happens with sports going forward. But I'm kind of set for... I've got these baseball cards to go through. I'm all set for the football draft. And I've still got hockey stuff ready to go. Whatever sport decides to come back, I'm good. And if it's NASCAR, if NASCAR figures out a way to do it, then I'll be watching NASCAR races and we'll be discussing NASCAR stuff because I'm a huge fan of sports. Always been a huge fan of sports. The one thing that I find interesting too is it's something, and it kind of makes me chuckle when I see people saying, I've learned from this there are more important things than sports. When sports come back, I'm not going to forget. I've realized that I can live without them. I heard that back in 2004 and 2005 about hockey. These guys, you know what? I'm kind of done with hockey. I think I'm done. I think I'm finished. Baseball, they lock out an entire season, no World Series. You know what? I'm done. Baseball's just greedy. It's just terrible. Now, baseball, it took them a while to build back up. When you cancel a World Series, it's going to take a while to build back up. The NHL, fans came back in huge numbers and paying record amounts for tickets. And I really think that as much as, yes, it's important that we keep everything in perspective, and I agree that that's a very important thing, I also think that once sports come back, we're going to see huge amounts of viewers watching sports. I think this is part of the reason why WWE has stayed as a visible entity, even though, yes, the ratings have been down a bit. They're aware. They have kind of access to people who are going to eventually tune in. And so we'll see how things go. But I'm optimistic. If I wasn't optimistic, I would have taken this board apart too. And when I took apart the preview boards, I thought, well, fine, because I was going to take apart the preview boards for the NHL going into the playoffs anyways, because I was going to be making videos for each individual series. So as such, I wasn't going to need multiple games on a board. But eventually, we'll have this in the rearview mirror, and we'll all discuss together how it brought us together and how we got through. And I believe it. I do. I know how the numbers look. I'm aware, and it is part of the reason why when I go to sleep at night and here's social distancing and dreams, which really makes dreams boring. I just have to say, it does. It turns. I usually have really creative dreams at the very least that are really weird and entertaining, and now it's just my brain goes, okay, all right, all these people have to stay apart. Look, I know. We're supposed to go to space. All these people need to be apart. Okay, we're not going to space. None of these people are staying apart. I can't do it. We're not going to space. We're not doing anything fun in this dream because everybody's all standing together. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for all your support through all of this. And thank you guys for helping this channel build up a bit. So I figured I'll show you guys the power rankings board. And for people who don't watch hockey, this is the difference between the football power rankings and the baseball and the hockey ones, I should say. The hockey ones have been very good to me. Dating back, this was the third year with power rankings, and it's usually my most popular video of the week. And it's made a huge difference not having power rankings as I did. I mean, I did them all the way back to the 80s, but the numbers were steadily declining. So trying to find something else to do that makes up for some of those views has been fun and challenging, but I look forward to when we can do this again, when this is all valid again. And not only that, but I can't wait until, if they do figure out a way to start up during the summer, and they figure out a way to finish the regular season, and then people tell me you have to reset all those power rankings, they don't matter anymore because it's been too much time off. Reset all your power rankings, to which I would say, no, those games still happened, and these teams still entered the break playing at this level as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. It does mean a lot. And like I said, we'll get through this, and I'm looking forward to on Thursday when we do the live stream related to this wonderful topic here, which is going to be football. So it's going to be sports. That's why I pointed hockey. It's going to be sports. I'm looking forward to something happening. Sports. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And question I have for you guys is, so Joe Burrow's going #1 overall, right? Quarterbacks could go as high as 5 and 6. Which other quarterbacks do you think go in the top 10, and where do you think they go? There's the question. I'm throwing that out there. You guys can let me know, because it looks like there's not a lot to choose between quarterbacks. Outside of Burrow being #1 going to Cincinnati, there's not really consensus with who necessarily goes at #2 in terms of quarterbacks, but it likely happens 5th. I keep wanting to point at football logos, and there aren't football logos on the board right now. So anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support, like I said, and I will talk to you again soon.